if you're automating a line, you've usually got multiple pallets or multiple machines, so you're entering in the zone of your lights out machining, so you've got limited staff on site and you're going to be machining over the weekend maybe, so connection to the machine is essential.
Welcome to the MTD Podcast. I'm Giovanni Albanese, hosting today's show, a passionate engineer and a proud member of the MTD team. Today, I'm at the GROB UK headquarters in Birmingham, a multi-billion pound machine tool technology organisation, and I have the pleasure to be joined by two special guests. Firstly, Alan Page, spare parts and service consultant. Welcome to your first MTD Podcast.
Thanks, Gio. It's a pleasure to be here.
And thank you very much for joining us. And Adam Cope, you've made your return to the MTD Podcast, UK Service Manager at GROB. Welcome to the MTD Podcast.
Hello again, Gio. It's good to be back. We'll see how it goes.
Well, today is a great subject for all our listeners. Now, GROB, as some of our listeners may know, are a machine tool provider. And today we're going to be finding out a lot more about the machine tools and solutions that they provide, but we're going to be focusing on remote machine diagnostics. Now, this is, in our opinion, the future of machine tool service and support. We're going to be finding out all of the benefits that will come with this. Alan, before we start, can you firstly give our listeners a little bit of an insight about you, about your career with GROB, and a bit of a flavour about this podcast and its importance?
Yes, Gio, I've been in the industry for, hard to say these days, but it's 40 years plus. And the last 21 years with GROB UK. When I first started with GROB UK, it was mainly for the automotive industry. So I spent a lot of my time within the major automotive sort of manufacturing facilities in the UK and also in Europe. Travelled quite frequently to the GROB headquarters in Mindelheim. And going back to the subject of what we're talking about today, I think a lot of the apps and things that are now on offer have been developed within the automotive industry and the high production environment. So it was a good grounding for the GROB apps and for the GROB 4net.
So, I mean, Alan, we'll go into this in a lot more detail, but do GROB practice what they preach at their manufacturing facility? Tell us a little bit about the manufacturing facility. You've been there many times. Yeah,
for sure. It's a large manufacturing facility now. It's grown in the last 20 years that I've been involved. It's grown a lot in the last 20 years. Our machine shop is probably 80% or more GROB machines, so GROB build GROB machines using GROB machines. And it's quite a high intense production environment. So they do use and develop these systems for our own use, for help with us, but also to pass on to the customer.
And in the automotive industry, this industry is just fully automated. These machines have been designed to run 24/7. They can't afford to stop, and we'll be touching on that point in a lot more detail shortly and giving some real-life examples. Now, Adam, welcome back to the MTD Podcast. For people that haven't had the pleasure to listen to the first podcast that we did together, can you tell our listeners a little bit about you and your role at GROB?
Yeah, so I'm the service manager currently for the UK and Ireland. I joined GROB in 2012. Started off on the road as an engineer on the road, so I have a good knowledge of our current machines from generation 0 up to the current machines. Then moved into projects, so was based on site at some of the big automotive companies running our install projects, and then later moving into the office and becoming the service manager.
So you've had a very varied experience. You've learnt a lot about all areas within the company.
Yeah, it's been good for me. I think having that grounding is better, because when I'm getting asked a question as a service manager, I have a good knowledge of the machines myself. So being the first point of contact for most of the calls that come into the office, not being in the dark is a great advantage.
So let's get into the nitty-gritty, if you like. Remote machine tool diagnostics. As a service manager and as a machine tool company, how important is this, and how does this benefit your clients?
It's an essential tool. Sometimes we struggle to get how important it is, especially as we know with the pandemic situation over the last 18 months or so. We've had engineers that have been isolating in quarantine, customer sites that we can't visit. So to be able to connect to a machine remotely, see what their problems are live. As I said, I'm the first point of call. I have remote access, so I can dial into the customer's machines, see their HMI screen. We can interrogate alarm logs, spindle diagnosis. It's just having that connection where the information is live, but we're not relying on anyone sending a bad picture or trying to look over a smartphone. We've got that live image.
And what kind of savings do you get as a company? But most importantly, do your clients get?
Well, saving wise, the remote diagnostics is free with the warranty of the machine. After that, it's a subscription service annually. So, for example, if we sent a service technician for a small problem that was only on site for half a day, that would cost our customer more than the subscription of the remote for a year. So the saving having the remote is phenomenal, and probably 80% of the calls that come into the office, it's something simple like a blocked filter or a switch needs resetting or a process related problem. So those are fixed in minutes rather than sending an engineer to site, 4, 5, 6 hour drive before getting to that point.
And I want to touch on some real life examples shortly, but before I do, you mentioned it's included in the warranty.
Yeah, that's correct.
Right. So I mean that's a big point, and hotlines. It's not just a call centre. Why?
No, I mean for GROB UK, we have two streams. So if a call comes in, we ourselves can start looking at the customer's problems. If it's a high pressure for the customer, we can put a ticket into GROB Mindlesheim. In Mindlesheim, everyone in their centre, I say a centre, it's not a call centre, but everyone in their hotline is a specialist in that area. So from the information put in the ticket, we know if they need a Siemens person, a Heidenheim person, a Fanuc person. Do they need to be electrical, mechanical? Is it a hydraulics issue? Is it a software issue? So it gets directed to a specialist on the team, and then that person is also backed up by the 4,000 plus people in Mindlesheim. So that's their side. Our side in the office, we're lucky that 5 or 6 of us are off the road, so we have a good knowledge pool in the office. Then all of our engineers on the road also have remote connection, so I can ask one of our engineers, can you please dial into this machine? So we've got their knowledge as well, so that we've got that 2 streams going. We've got the support from the UK side backed up by Mindlesheim at the same time.
So the clients, are reassured when investing with GROB that the machine tool is going to be backed up and there'll be minimal downtime, if any. Now, Alan.
Yeah, I think probably one of the main benefits for our customers is that it's, for the want of a better thing to call it, it's like a comfort blanket. Because we often sell machines to the first time a machine is the guy's had a GROB machine, so he's not familiar with GROB machines maybe. And having this backing for him is like a comfort blanket. He knows that within minutes he can speak to somebody that can hopefully help him out, or just a little bit of advice. Sometimes the call is not a breakdown, it's not a problem. He just wants to ask a question.
Right, and give us some real life examples now. I want to talk about the technology shortly and how it all works, and all the apps that come with the machine tool, which are amazing. But give us some real life examples on how this remote machine tool diagnosis has helped your clients. Adam?
For example, I think you've done some filming at Luff, but our customer Luff, I think only last week now, came with a call with a tool loading issue, a magazine issue. The Luff machine is a Heidenhain machine, which unfortunately is not my speciality. I'm from a Siemens background. So straight away I thought we'll put a ticket in with Mindelheim just in case our guys can't get to the bottom of this. So while we were investigating the alarm that he had, Mindelheim had actually contacted Jason, established by dialing onto the machine that it was an error with a magazine sensor, and it just turned out that sensor on the load of the magazine had been knocked out of position. It just needed realigning, and Jason was up and running in 2 hours. So if we had to send a guy, I would take a guy closest, get him to drive over there. So we'd struggle to beat that 2 hour turnaround, even if we had someone working locally.
And for our listeners, Luff Engineering is not a big automotive company. It's just a small end user company, isn't it? And they're already investing in this GROB technology. Yeah,
he's just a one-man guy in his workshop, and he never thought he could own a GROB. He bought one of our approved used machines, and he sings its praises. Now he's got used to it. And like most people do, usually they'll buy one and then they'll keep buying them for a long time after. Now, Alan, tell us about the evolution of the GROBs. You've seen them from 20 years ago. Obviously, when they originated, they were focusing on the car industry. How have they evolved? And let's start talking about some of this technology that makes this remote machine tool diagnostics a reality and work.
Yeah, I think, as I said, it was basically, it evolved in the automotive industry, and we did have remote diagnostics then, but it was a simple system, if you like. They were able to look at the machine remotely, they were able to look at files remotely, but that's about it. That was the end of it. It's now evolved over the years to they can actually get in there. They can look at programs. They can look at files. They can pull GSD data from the machines. They can pull error logs. They can assess button strokes. They can do all this analysis now down the line. So they don't have to stand by the machine anymore. Which earlier you could only do a limited amount. So that's evolved a lot. But I said it's all been tried out and tested in our own facility in Mindelheim, and also with years of experience with the automotive industry.
And now we're in a world of automation. How's the synergy between this and automation, and why are the two so important? I don't know which, Adam or Alan?
Obviously, if you're automating a line, you've usually got multiple pallets or multiple machines, so you're entering in the zone of potentially lights out machining. So you've got limited staff on site, and you're going to be machining over the weekend maybe. So connection to the machine is essential. One of the GROB Net 4 packages is GROB 4 Line, which is an option. This is a smartphone or tablet app which shows the machines live in your shop. It's also integratable with other Siemens, Heidenhain and Fanuc machines, so you can actually have machines that are not GROB machines connected to the app. And then from this you can see what program you're running on the machine, the progress of that program, any messages coming up. So you might say a tool wear is coming up, coolant's looking low, so you could send someone in on Saturday, Sunday, can you just swap the sister tool over, can you just top up the coolant? So yeah, for things like that, it's perfect. And
can you tell us about some of the other products within the GROB Net 4 industry apps that you offer? I know that you do 10 in total, I believe, 10 app-based products, but can you talk us through some of them, please?
Yeah, I mean, the beauty is once you've got the connection online, all UK machines are spec'd with a router to be able for you to connect online, plus connect internally. So this allows the machine to talk to your tool presetter or a shared drive in the office for transferring programs. But yeah, we've got apps like GROB 4 Track, So this is an app where the machine, during its warm-up and test stop in the morning, produces a series of moves, runs the axes up, and then from this it can analyse the wear and condition of the linear axes and the rotary axes.
So it's preventative
maintenance. So this gives you a neat sort of traffic light result, green, amber, red. So as the machine ages and wears, you can see if it's going into the amber. But the good thing with this, it's backed up by years of historic data. The platform of a GROB machine, the configuration of the axes has not changed in all these years, even in the automotive machines, what we call our sister machines, to the standalone job shop universal machines. The platform's the same, so the knowledge gained of positional errors and vibrational errors, etc., is behind this app. So it's excellent for PM.
I mean, these apps have obviously changed your role significantly.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Absolutely.
Can you tell us about how your role has now changed?
Well, it's less hands-on now, because you can plan things easily. You can plan things more easily, and you can analyse. You can go forward track. You can see when you need to change a ball screw. You can see when it's coming. You get information every morning, which goes onto a traffic light system, as Adam said, and you can plan that into your shutdown. So you can, if you've got a Z-axis ball screw which is borderline, you know it's going to be okay, but it needs changing, and then you can plan it for your summer shutdown or for your Christmas shutdown or whatever shutdown you've got, so you don't impede any production time.
Yeah, just going back to the automotive sector, big automotive OEMs have collected this kind of data themselves in the past, so they would have added systems onto the machines, extra sensors of their own from third parties to try and predict when linear guides are worn, when a ball screw has got backlash. So to have this built into the machine now, it does away with all this cost of third-party equipment.
I mean, for me, I look at the GROB solution, and obviously it's a proven solution in the car industry, in the automotive industry. And in that industry, automation is key. But now automation is becoming very important in all industries, whether that's medical, aerospace, oil and gas. You know, everything is being automated. So effectively, would it be safe to say, Alan, that your machine tools now are lending themselves to all industries that are not only doing very high volume work, but maybe doing, low volume, high mix work?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it doesn't matter whether it's high volume or low volume. Each part, the machine is running a program, so each part is, all the axis movements are being used. So it doesn't matter whether it's one every 40 seconds or the program takes 4 hours to run. It doesn't matter. You're still getting that information, and you still need that information to be able to keep your machine up and running.
And how are you automating it, whether it be a very small batch or high volume? Give us some examples. I know we're going off on a different tangent slightly, but it is all connected.
Yeah. I don't think it matters on the volume, because it's still the machine's doing the same movements, whether you're doing high volume or lower volume. It's just you're doing more of them. So I don't think it matters on the volume. It just means that this simple traffic light system for this app, for instance, will give you the information when you need to start thinking about making changes.
Yeah, but the machines can be automated for lower volume work now as well. You've just brought out a 4-axis new machine tool as well, which it opens up new markets as well. Adam. Yeah,
that'll get us into some of the places we want to be, because sometimes people don't need 5-axis or 5-axis simultaneous, so we can offer them a slightly cheaper option, I suppose, for their 4-axis work. The new machine, I haven't seen one myself in person because I've not been able to travel to Mindelheim, but one of the benefits of it is if you've spec'd a 4-axis machine within your budget and you win more work on it in the future, it comes with a modular magazine system, so the magazine can be extended 4 times. You can just keep extending magazine discs to the same existing machine, so that's one of the good features.
And the new machine obviously is coming with all of this remote diagnostics the same as
for the first year or for the warranty period, it's free, and then
all of these platforms are free in the first year if the customer wants to use them.
And the growth in GROB Machine Tool sales in the UK, I mean, you know, you've mentioned videos that we've been doing together. That for our listeners, if you're listening to this podcast, please go onto the MTD website to look at some of the videos and the testimonials that we've produced together. I mean, Napier turbocharger springs to mind. I think we were there last year. What a fantastic case study that was. But they seem to be springing out more and more into different industries. Your role, we briefly mentioned, has changed. But how has it changed in regards to your day-to-day role? You out on the road more, less?
Well, I suppose I would be, but if it wasn't for the pandemic, that's the problem. I wouldn't say I would be out on the road more, but certainly my hope is to visit all our customers in the UK on a regular basis and push all these products and try and help the customer to achieve the best that he can from his machine. The possibilities of a GROB machine are wide, so we need to try and get our customers to use them to their full capacity and capability. And
they have got a lot of capability, as we've alluded to. And having all this smart technology, this digitalisation, you referred to it earlier, really, Adam, in regards to, you know, COVID has accelerated the need or the necessity for this, but it was already on the incline. And I think that COVID has made people realise that this is a necessity. This is the future of service.
Yeah, I think COVID has accelerated this a lot. We were talking about it earlier, weren't we? That it's definitely pushed it forward.
Yeah. And
it's now in the forefront of a lot of our customers' minds as well, because they don't necessarily want an engineer on site.
I think,
especially this time of year, with getting close to Christmas, people have been thinking about it quite a lot. I think so. It's
customers realise, I think, a while back you'd buy your first machine, load it up, and then think about the second machine. But now customers are realising with some of these technologies, I can run 24/7 with not so many people. I can analyse downtime easily and see what the stoppages are, what's causing my issues, and solve them quickly. So you can make just that single machine a lot more productive.
And for end users listening to this podcast, engineers listening to this podcast from not just in the UK but around the world, from both of you really, to summarise this podcast on kind of GROB net for industry and remote machine tool diagnostics, how important is it for engineers, whether they're in the UK or around the world, to consider this and to be able to introduce this to their machine tool? And it's not just for a GROB machine tool. You can introduce this technology to other makes and models. Can you please tell us your opinion on this, please, Adam?
I think it's just once a machine is connected, once you have the ability to collect that data, analyse that data, use that data, the possibilities are endless, and it's not even limited to these apps. We have some current customers who are interested in taking data that they want just for themselves. Maybe they want to know what the spindle bearing temperature is or the coolant temperature is running at. And once the machine is connected and you have that interface, that the customer can, it's free data, the customer can use the data however they want. So I think the way we're going in all of our lives at the moment, it's data. That's the key to saving money, being more productive. It's the data, and this gives you the data, and it gives you the data remotely without having to add anything on.
And also it's going to give you again, I'll use the word comfort blanket, but it does make the customer at ease. I think the fact that he can view what's going on, peace of mind, and he can, and there's help at the end of a telephone call or an email. And I just think it's, he knows that if he contacts the hotline, for instance, he's getting support not only from the UK but also from Germany, from the headquarters, with a wealth of knowledge. So his problems could be fixed very, very quickly.
Alan, Adam, it's been an absolute pleasure. I think that it's been insightful to see and to learn about how this technology works on the GROB machine tools. And please check out the GROB Machine Tools if you've listened to this podcast and you've not seen them. I mean, they're an absolutely fantastic piece of technology, and they're quite unique. And the capabilities on a GROB fifth axis, full simultaneous with turning capability, there's not much you can't really make on one of them machines. So this is giving you the competitive edge to be more productive and reduce cost per part. Guys, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the MTD podcast. For our listeners that have listened, if you've got any questions whatsoever, please contact GROB UK. Thank you. Until next week, the MTD podcast.
Thanks for listening to the MTD podcast. If you found value in this episode, please subscribe and leave a rating and review. Find more episodes on mtdcnc.com.